Over 25 years, 27 seasons, and multiple spin-offs, Big Brother has been a titan in the reality TV world. However, there have been certain things that I feel that have been dragging the show down in recent years. There are some things that the show could just retool to work in the modern day. However, there's a litany of things that I think Big Brother needs to drop entirely in order to grow bigger than they are right now. So here's my list of things that Big Brother needs to retire. Back in Big Brother 12, we were first introduced to the Zingbot. From then on out, he would come in every year and hilariously roast the house guests and humble them a little bit. We would look forward to this moment in the season every year. We would hope that the Zingbot would come in and hilariously knock down our least favorite house guests down a peg and give them some just desserts.
That's a nice tan, but I'm surprised you get any sun at all, considering how much time you spend in your sister's shadow. Liz, you've become such an important part of Austin's life. Are you more excited to meet his mom, his dad, or his girlfriend?
Really?
Oh my god, that freaking Zingbot, man.
Mic drop, zing!
That was amazing. We love you.
However, over the last few years, to me, it's felt like the Zingbot has gone down in significant quality. A lot of the time, it feels like the Zingbot pulls his punches on a lot of people instead of going full bore into them. The wrath of the Zingbot seems to go to a lot of unwarranted targets a good amount now. It feels like an opportunity for the producers to go after the people they don't like instead of the people the audience doesn't.
Danger! There is a thief among us! America! You're under arrest for robbing the cradle! We said they was gonna do that!
Even with that, a good amount of zings won't even be funny. Sometimes they're the most lazy, unoriginal, most obvious jokes you can make, or not even make sense.
Annie! From your first season on Big Brother, you looked like an old pro. Now you just look old. I've been singing for over a decade now, and it never gets old.
Oh no.
But you know what has? Tiffany!
I also want to talk about the lore of the Zingbot here. The lore of the Zingbot is one of those weird Big Brother isms that is strange, but we've also just come to accept. It started out very tame, with Zingbot wanting the house guest to build him a wife. Then they wanted them to help him deliver their baby, which I don't think we've seen that baby since. This is where the lore takes a turn. In Big Brother 17, the house guests were tasked to help him on a new dating app after recently being divorced. Okay, seems a little strange, But this is where it takes another turn. In the next season, 18, he announces his run for president. But the house guests need to help him cover up his scandalous past that could derail his run for president. In season 19, he colluded with Planet Zing's equivalent of Vladimir Putin in order to steal his election. And in season 20, he had incriminating photos that the house guests had to hide. And because of the dealings with President Putin and the photos in 20, he was put in jail in season 21. In 22, he became a version of Tiger King, where the house guests had to go in to his intergalactic tiger farm and save his tigers who have gotten out. What is going on here? After that, the lore of the Zingbot kind of becomes hazy. I don't even think they do interesting things with the Zingbot anymore. The last thing they did with the Zingbot that I thought was creative was in 25 when they turned him into OTEV due to the Scrambleverse. I also thought they had a great opportunity to do something really funny with Zingbot and Ainsley, but then they disappointed me by just making him Ainsley's boyfriend. Just very uninspiring and uncreative. That's my biggest problem with the Zingbot. They don't know how to be creative with this character anymore. So, in my opinion, I think the Zingbot should either be retired or do something creative with him. Speaking of the OTEV competition, that's the next thing I think Big Brother should rework or get rid of altogether. The OTEV competition, which made its debut in Big Brother 7 and quickly became a staple of every Big Brother season. It has appeared in every season since, except for Big Brother 10. How the competition works is that it's kind of like musical chairs.
OTEV is a lot like musical chairs. In each round, there's one less drum to kneel on. You don't want to be the last one up the ramp, because if you are and all the people on the drums have the right answer, you're out.
The OTEV asks the competitors a question in which the answer refers to an evicted house guest. They must then go find the name of the corresponding house guest and bring it back to a seat in front of OTEV. The last person to come back with the answer will be eliminated. Every round, one seat will be taken away, and the comp will whittle down until only 2 players compete in a final round to determine the winner. The reason why I think this comp should be retired or either reworked is because the strategy of the competition has been fully cracked. The strategy to do well in this competition is to find every possible answer in one of the first 2 rounds, which isn't hard, especially if the competition takes place earlier in the season. Then you only got to find around 5 to 8 answers. Once you find them, you put them in a secret pile and come back to them every round. Most competitors competing in this competition either know this strategy at this point or are so bad at the questions before the end that it ends in 1 to 3 rounds now. That's another reason I think this comp should either be retired or reworked. Every type of outcome has occurred in this competition, from 2 people getting into a fight to the target for the week 1v5ing the competition, Meg getting CTE, Rockstar's slip up, everyone going out on the first round, or in BB27, multiple people getting questions wrong. Everything about this competition, in my opinion, has already been tapped for everything it has. Now, it just seems like they do this because it's a staple of Big Brother. In my opinion, you should either do something different with it, like change how the questions are, or just retire it altogether. This next one is something I just never want to see ever again. This is more of a personal thing for me rather than having to do with a lack of creativity or anything. I just never want to see the Dizzy Discs competition ever again. In my honest opinion, I think this competition sucks. I think it's very uninteresting as an endurance competition. Just spinning around in a circle, around and around they go until they fall off, usually smacking off something in the process. I just don't like it. I'm sorry, this one is totally my own personal preference here. I also feel like this competition mostly benefits one body type, which is the athletic slash toned physique, mostly male as well. Men win this competition most often with only a few exceptions. A few of those exceptions are wonky circumstances on their own as well, like Vanessa winning the competition in 17 minutes and Nicole winning the competition due to a pre-planned deal to throw the competition to her. So I don't want to drag this out longer, but I just never want to see this competition ever again. The next competition I want retired is actually just one I think could stay if it was reworked. This competition used to be about how badly you want to win and how far you're willing to push yourself to do so. This is obviously the legendary wall competition. Now, in the modern day, it just seems like whoever has the best arm and grip strength will win this competition. This has to do with how the handholds are situated and that squat blockers are in place. To understand why this competition morphed into this, we need to do a little bit of a BB history lesson. The reason we have these handholds and especially the squat blockers now is because of one contestant, James Hewling. In Big Brother 17, James was able to outlast all the house guests on the wall because he figured out, due to his stature, that he could take a lot of pressure off of his knees by squatting down at certain points in time. The next season, 18, he was one of 4 returning players, and he and Nicole Franzel were up on the wall together. They both started utilizing this strategy, and lo and behold, they were the final 2 up on the wall. I could be wrong, but I remember that there was a considerable amount of uproar in the fandom about this at the time. Mostly because Nicole and James weren't exactly fan favorites in the online fandom at this point. The fandom was calling for a rule change of not allowing squatting, which production in tow obliged and instituted squat blockers into every iteration of the wall moving forward. Little at the time did we know that this would change the trajectory of the competition until this very day. The squat blockers aren't the only issue with the modern day version of this competition. The handholds are another problem with this competition as well. Back in the day, the handholds used to just be a bar that ran along the wall, and it was pretty fair for almost everyone running the challenge. Now the holds are usually in 3 stationary holds varying in different shapes and sizes. These holds will also be in positions that most of the time benefit a specific stature of person. That person is usually an average height to 6'2" male. Now, my suggestion to make this competition better is to just revert it back to the old version of the wall. No squat blockers, a bar style hand hold that is fair for everyone, and stop trying to make the competition end as quickly as possible. I would also suggest having this competition take a back seat for a while. We've had this competition every season since its inception in season 10. Some seasons even have multiple versions of the wall on the same season. So please, just let it take a rest for a while. We don't need it to be a Big Brother staple. There are other endurance style competitions that I would rather have been on every season instead. Like the pressure cooker competition, for example, would be a way better Big Brother staple because it tests how bad people actually want to win and gives everyone a fair shake at the competition. The last competition I think should be retired is the BB Comics competition. BB Comics is a competition that made its debut in Big Brother 16. The first few years of this competition was very fun. The comics were inventive, funny, and creative. Over the years, however, it seems the comics have gotten lazy. More and more, the comics don't feel like they have anything to do with the house guests at all. Most of them are either one-note things, like the house guest's job title, a thing they did once, or a piece of clothing they wore. Sometimes they have nothing to do with the house guests at all. Like, what the hell does Nightmerica have anything to do with America as a character on the show? There's multiple examples of this. The most egregiously lazy thing that they do with BB Comics is when they make someone's BB comic into whatever punishment costume they had to wear. Especially this season with Keanu and Vince. Vince and Keanu are two characters you could have done a lot with their BB comics, but instead they decided to make them the hard-boiled detective and the butler. It's just so lazy, and I think if they're not going to put effort into something, then they just shouldn't do it. I also have a big issue with the type of competition that accompanies BB Comics. The competition itself is way too physical, with having to zip line across the yard, fall from a decent height, and then sprint over to the board, and then go back to do it again if you need to check your work. It's another one of those competitions that mostly benefits physical people. Now, before people say women have won this competition before, though, yes, they have. However, the record time for completing this competition is the aforementioned America with around 10 minutes. And that season, Jag still beat her by 2 minutes with getting questions wrong, whereas America, as shown as the show, never got a question wrong. She got it in exactly one buzz-in. Also, the zipline portion, in my opinion, is kind of dangerous. They're just asking for someone to get hurt. They're lucky that Felicia or Suri didn't get hurt in Big Brother 25. While I was recording this video, they did the BB Comics in Big Brother 27, and Will hurt himself. And because of that injury, ended up getting evicted at the end of the week because he couldn't perform in the other physical challenge. So yeah, there's that. Just either make comics that are funny and inventive and have actually something to do with the house guests, make a new competition, or just get rid of them altogether. The final thing I want Big Brother to retire for good is the key block that is used for nominations. The key block was introduced in Big Brother 16 for the purposes of the Battle of the Block twist. This is because of the two HOHs, there would be no way to show which HOH noms were which from a production standpoint makes sense. However, we haven't had the Battle of the Block since Big Brother 17. So why do we still have this key block? Personally, I would rather have the key wheel back. I've been one of the many online that when a new season is announced, screaming from the rooftops to bring back the key wheel. Again, why do they not have the key wheel back at this point? In my opinion, the key wheel just adds more gravitas and an air of importance that the key block just doesn't give. It is mostly because of how it's handled in the episode. It's treated more as an after block, the key block is, than anything else. How they make the HOH go over the basic script. I've nominated 3 house guests for eviction. In my nomination block, blah, blah, blah. And then they do the whole anticlimactic, the blank house guest I've nominated is... And then they do that 3 times over. That's just so anticlimactic to me. The key wheel ceremony was just so much cooler to me. The keys all being pulled out by the house guests back to back, declaring each other safe, and with the cool sword sheath sound effect. It's just so much cooler. The big reason I thought of as to why they don't bring the key wheel back is that it just takes too long. So I decided to pick out 10 random nomination ceremonies. 5 were from ceremonies with the key wheel, and 5 were from ceremonies with the key block. And for both, I chose them at random. I did discover that yes, obviously the key wheel ones do take a little bit longer. The ones in the early seasons do take almost twice as long. However, once we get into later seasons, like BB12 and 14 that I observed, they only went about a minute longer than the average time of the key block ceremony. So if they can get these down to be a minute longer than the usual key block ceremonies, I don't see why they can't bring the key wheel back. Especially since so much of the fans want it. Just cut out a part of a competition. Cut out a filler segment that you don't need. The key wheel, at least how they used it, gave the nominations a sense of dread towards who was about to be nominated. As the wheel went around the table and house guests pulling out keys that weren't theirs. You could feel through the screen the realization that house guests had that their game was being put in jeopardy. A great example is in BB25 when they basically did a variation of the key wheel but with pies. You can see in real time Felicia, Suri, and Izzy slowly come to the realization that the jig was up and that 2 of them were going up on the block. This gives the key wheel an importance in the game, that you want to see your key come out of the box. It also gave the keys that they are given in the intro package a physical manifestation of the house guest life in the game. Survivor does this very well with the whole fire represents your life concept in the game, when at the first tribal council, Jeff tells them to dip their torches in the fire. Fire represents your life, and when you're gone, so are you. The keys and getting your key pulled out of the wheel could give the same sort of feel. That feel just isn't there with the key block. The whole turning the key and the face popping up on the wall feels very throwaway to me. I need to see the key wheel come back to give Nominations a sense of gravitas and importance, and why I need to see the key block retired. That's my list of things I believe Big Brother should retire. Now, I did have one more thing, which was mid-season twists, but due to recent events, I decided to spin that off into its own video. And so stay on the lookout for that. Now, thank you for watching this video. This was more of a more rambly style video than one I really wrote a script for. So if you liked this video, please leave a like, leave a subscribe, and hit that notify bell for more videos like my mid-season twist video coming out soon. And in the comments, say what you think Big Brother should retire or even with rework. With that, the house has spoken. It's time for you to go.